Asking questions is the core of becoming a scholar, a perceptive learner, and a reader thoroughly engaged with the text. This demonstration shows two categories of questions needed for learning well from a text. Professor's questions is a survival strategy that teaches you to read your professor so you can predict what he or she expects you to learn for tests or discussions. Ask, what does my professor want me to know? My questions pushes you to ask your own genuine questions about what you are studying. What do I want to know? Asking these types of questions can be deeply satisfying and fun, and they lead to the passion of a scholar in pursuit of truth. Before reading, preview the text for content. Ask what this text can teach you. Make yourself curious as you preview. Be full of wonder. Use what you gained from the preview and your best guess about what your professor expects to set a tentative overall purpose to guide you through the text, something that makes you say, if I get nothing else out of this text, I must learn this. The strategy Professor's Questions helps you focus on what the professor wants you to learn from the text. You can become good at this. Many students, after learning the strategy, tell us they guessed virtually every question on the test. How do you do this? Learn to read the professor. Use the GUESS acronym to discover what your professor probably values. G. Go to class. Read assignments before class, or at least preview readings with Thieves with Snatches. U. Use your notes from class. What clues are there that suggest what the professor expects you to learn and how well to learn it? E. Examine what the professor emphasizes. During lectures, in discussions, what kind of questions does she ask? In referencing the textbook? On quizzes and tests? In the syllabus for the essential questions and objectives for the course? Use these clues to state the types of thinking the professor seems to value and the expectations she seems to have for her students. Take a few moments after class or as soon as possible to answer this question. Based on today's lesson, what clues did she give about the types of information she wants me to understand and the kinds of thinking she wants me to do? S. Ask the professor. Ask teaching assistants. Ask classmates. What shall I be sure to learn from this chapter? What should be my focus? S. Join a study group. Pool ideas about the questions the professor might ask about the text and why. Try to answer them. After reading your professor, pull together your best guesses about what she seems to expect and write these down. Here is an example. She wants us to take case studies and propose how we might deal with the situations. She pushes us to defend why we would do these things, giving theoretical perspective and some implications of such teaching acts. She expects us to explain the main points in each chapter, think critically about them, and give examples not only from the text but also from our experiences. Her favorite question is, so what for teaching? She likes us to be curious and have imagination. Now, read the text, thinking like your professor. What would she ask about this part? List those questions in the margins of the text, on sticky notes placed in the margins, on a separate sheet of paper such as a marginal gloss. This is a great tool when you can't write on the text. On your electronic device or in your course notebook. Tip: if you write them anywhere other than in the margin of the text, put the page number where the question occurred so you can find the spot again. Of course, try to answer the questions. Reading the professor is a survival strategy for college classes. My Questions is a strategy that validates your own questions, born of your curiosity and imagination. They give you a compelling desire to understand for yourself. This often involves asking why and what if questions, plus any others that occur to you. Think of the implications and applications of what you are learning. This is how scholars think. You may naturally generate some of the same questions your professor asks, but they come from a different place in your mind. If they are the same, classify them as professor's questions. Hopefully this isn't you, but if you find yourself just going through the motions of reading, stop. Stop wasting your time, effort, and tuition. Learn how to learn from a text. You are already on your way with the strategies you've learned thus far, but My Questions is where real learning takes place. If you are not full of curiosity as you read and have no questions, change that. Make yourself curious. There are no uninteresting things in the world, only uninterested people. You can make yourself so curious that you cannot wait to read something you previously thought would be boring. Here are some resources that will help you become full of questions and the desire to learn. They take you beyond surface understanding to deep learning. The most famous resource for asking questions is Bloom's Taxonomy. It is a set of 6 levels of questions educators use to move students' thinking from lower to higher levels of thinking. But you can use it too. Find it on the internet or in one of our handbooks where we adapted the taxonomy for college students. Another source is the Question Starters chart in the handbooks. It shows 4 types of questions that spur curiosity in a variety of ways, and includes question starters to use as templates for your own questions. Factual. Ask questions to clarify the information in the text and to make sure you have the knowledge of key facts, definitions, principles, or rules. Probing. Ask questions that cause you to dig and pull out the meaning. Go beyond surface understanding. Feeling, attitude, experience. Ask questions that make you realize your beliefs, trace the sources of your thinking, bring your background experience and knowledge to conscious awareness, and face your underlying assumptions. Connecting, extending. Ask questions to help you see conflicts, implications, consequences, and perspectives that move you beyond the text and push you to explore new paths. The best source for questions, however, is your own mind. Probe the text with curiosity and the mindset of, what might I not understand about this? And what is the so what of this information? You will usually do professor's questions and My Questions at the same time. It is helpful to distinguish between the 2 types of questions, so you can work on the professor's questions when preparing for a test, and My Questions when preparing to write papers or reading responses, or for your own pressing desire to understand. One suggestion: label your questions with a code, such as P for professor's questions, or M for My Questions. To make review easier, indicate the page where you formulated the question, as well as the type of question it is. Creating both types of questions is stimulating, fun, and rewarding. Asking questions as you read and then trying to answer them is the ultimate in active learning.